Well, we did it. We've reached the end of the series. You'd think there wouldn't be more to talk about, but you'd be wrong. There is more to the series than just the individual books. Most of the time, there is such thing as a series with great books individually, but they didn't really fit together as a series. Let's see how the books of Bayern fit into that. First, let's look at how the books are linked together. Each book took place some amount of time after the other. This actually gives the previous characters time to recover from their past adventures, and allows the new characters to begin their own. Plus, it still took place in the same world, and you still got to see the previous characters from other books. I've seen many series take place in the same world, but never referencing any of the previous characters. Sometimes that works, but most of the time we want to see what happened to our favorite characters. With the books of Bayern, the protagonists were given some breathing room to recover from the previous novels, and they were able to participate in the next adventure, since all the protagonists are friends. But see, here's the important thing. Each protagonist was still affected from the previous adventure. Ani still remembered being alone in the forest and not having anyone to turn to. Anna still remembered being in a Tyrian camp with Sealif. Reza remembered his many near-death experiences. Dasha remembered her own near-death experience, and the thought of going back to war. I'm sure if there was a sequel to Forestborn written about a different character, I bet you that Rin would still be struggling to deal with the desire for power that comes with people speaking. There were quite a number of themes prevalent throughout the entire series, but one in particular that stood out to me was the power of friendship. I know that sounds really, really cliche, but it's true. All four girls and Rezo needed someone to turn to in their time of need. Ani was alone for the longest time because her best friend and her family had betrayed her trust. It wasn't until she found Enna and Jarek that she started to trust again. Enna thought she was alone when she burned Ani and ran away from her other friends, but Ani was able to forgive Enna and save her life. Rezo felt no one would understand him or listen to him, but he found comfort in his close friends who had come with him and the new friends he made. Dasha lived most of her life without having someone to talk to about her gift. It wasn't until Rezo came along that he was able to find a way to help her. Rin wanted to be part of the adventure, so she tried her hardest to be friends with the girls and be helpful in any way she could without hurting them. Friends are a powerful influence. Ani and Enna were able to teach each other their gifts due to how close they were. An opposing example would be Celia and how she manipulates people to do her bidding. Those are not friends. Those are slaves to her voice. Celia only wanted the crown and only tells people what they want to hear to get what she wants. You can tell in some of the things Celia says to Ani and the Goose Girl that she's just telling Ani what she wants to hear. Now, Enna actually felt pity for Ani and even defended her. They were still close friends by the events of Forestborn. Also, Rin focused all her energy on building Ani up when Celia was talking her down. Friends tell you when you're going too far. Enna wanted to burn everything to ash, but Rezo and Finn had told her multiple times that she needed to stop as she was getting scary, and the power to burn was overwhelming her. It was almost like they were seeing the fire and not her. Enna also knew that she needed someone to tell her to stop because she feared losing her life the same way her brother had. Now, friends support and defend each other. There are multiple instances of this, but my favorite one is when the radicals of Manifestira tried to murder Rezo. Radiance stepped in and announced that Rezo was his friend. Now, Radiance has a lot of influence among the people of Tira, and easily could have walked away and said, I don't know this man. But instead, he called to the people who respected and loved him, and they took down the radicals. The radicals even tried to tell Radiance that Rezo was his enemy, but Radiance put his foot down and defended Rezo. Now, friends are also meant to build you up and help you bring your best out. They're not supposed to tear you down and throw you under the bus. Well, yes, when you get close enough to many friends, there is some teasing and joking, which is shown in all four books, but one thing that not a lot of people think about is the prank is only funny if everyone is laughing. If someone does something that genuinely makes you uncomfortable or hurts you and they laugh it off saying that it was a joke, no it wasn't, it was pain! If this person is not willing to listen to you and continues to make you uncomfortable, that's not a friend. That is someone who wants to tear you down for control. And maybe it's not always control. Maybe they just want to feel like the bigger person and have someone to talk down to. On the other hand, if you have a friend who is willing to listen to you and realizes their mistakes and apologizes and never does it again, that is a real friend. Another important theme was the importance of inner balance. While the main protagonists each had their own gifts, they needed something to balance it out or the particular element would kill them. Anna nearly died the same way as her brother because she had nothing to balance the fire. Dasha saw what water speaking without balance did to her grandfather, and who knows what would have happened to Ani if she hadn't balanced wind speech. Inner balance doesn't just have to apply to mystical powers, it can also apply to us. If we keep ourselves at balance, we become healthier and happier and more fun to be around. We shouldn't let one part of our lives dictate how we live. Overall, the structure of the series felt planned. There are some snippets of foreshadowing sprinkled throughout the series that many people don't notice until they reread the series a second time. While it does seem like Celia just appeared out of the blue at the end, reread the first 3 books again and look for the foreshadowing. It's there. The series was well structured and well written. Each book was written in a specific way to each protagonist, giving the reader a view into their life and what they deem is important. Plus, the world building is consistent. In the first book, we only got 2 kingdoms, but each book expands the kingdoms and we get a good idea of the culture of each people. And the best part? The world building doesn't feel overbearing or too much. Each part of the world building felt like it was important to the story in some way. That's very rare for fantasy writers, and I would know. I'm trying to write my own series of fantasy novels. My final verdict is this series is well done. I would strongly recommend reading the entire series if you can. While each book doesn't end on a cliffhanger, I'd still recommend continuing the series so you can learn more about the world and its characters. Wow, that's quite a lot to say about this series. I hope you enjoyed this year's series, September. I can't wait to see all of you next year for the next series. Well, I hope you enjoyed this series as much as I did. Happy reading, everyone!